My name is Sarah Mitchell, and I never thought I would be the kind of woman who had to confess to something that would shake the foundation of my marriage. The story I'm about to tell is not easy, and it isn't the kind of thing you can wrap up in a neat little bow. It is messy, human, and tangled with choices that I wish I could take back, but can't. It all began on our family ranch in Kentucky, where my husband, Daniel, and I lived with our teenage daughter, Emily. The ranch had been in Daniel's family for generations. His grandfather had built it from nothing, working the land until it flourished. Horses were not just animals to Daniel, they were part of his heritage, almost sacred. Among them, there was one in particular, a beautiful chestnut mare named Bella. Bella had been with us for years, and Daniel always said she was the heart of the ranch. She had a graceful stride, the kind of animal that made people stop and watch. For me, Bella was more than just a horse. She was a companion during long days when Daniel was busy managing the business side of the ranch, and Emily was caught up with school and friends. I'd go to the stables, brush Bella's coat, and talk to her as though she could understand every word. In some ways, she probably knew me better than most people. But this is where the cracks started forming. Daniel and I had been married for almost 20 years, and somewhere along the line, we stopped talking the way we used to. Our conversations became more about schedules, bills, and responsibilities than about dreams, hopes, or even love. He loved me, I knew that, but his passion was wrapped up in the ranch, in the horses, in keeping the family legacy alive. I wanted to feel seen, and I didn't. And that's when temptation walked into my life, literally. A few summers ago, we hired a new ranch hand, a man named Jason Miller. He was in his early 30s, younger than me, rugged but with a charm that was disarming. He knew his way around horses, and Daniel trusted him almost immediately. Jason spent hours in the stables, often working with Bella. At first, I was glad someone else could handle the physical work, but then I started noticing how easy it was to talk to him. Unlike Daniel, Jason asked me questions. He wanted to know about my favorite books, about what I did before the ranch, about how I felt. Those were things Daniel hadn't asked me in years. I didn't set out to betray my husband. It wasn't premeditated. But little moments started adding up. The brush of Jason's hand when he helped me down from Bella, the way his eyes lingered when I laughed at one of his jokes, the quiet understanding he gave me when I confessed how lonely I sometimes felt. Loneliness is a dangerous thing. It can make you cling to whatever warmth you find, even when it comes from the wrong source. The turning point came one evening when the sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. I had gone to the stables to feed Bella, and Jason was already there. We talked, and the conversation turned more personal, more vulnerable than it should have. I admitted to him that I felt invisible in my own marriage. He looked at me with such intensity, and before I realized what I was doing, I let him kiss me. That kiss was the beginning of something that spiraled out of control. For weeks, I lived a double life. By day, I was Daniel's wife, Emily's mother, the woman keeping the house and helping on the ranch. By evening, when I could steal a moment, I was confiding in Jason, meeting him in the stables, sharing secrets I should have kept locked inside. And yes, Bella was often there, silently witnessing the unraveling of my loyalty. She would stomp her hooves or snort as though disapproving, and I used to joke nervously to Jason that the horse knew too much. It couldn't last, and deep down I knew that. Secrets have a way of clawing to the surface, and mine came to light in the harshest way possible. One morning, Daniel went to the stables earlier than usual. He had planned to surprise me with coffee, thinking I might already be out feeding Bella. Instead, what he found shattered him. Jason and I weren't caught in the act, but we were too close, talking in hushed voices, standing nearer than we should have been. Daniel didn't need more evidence. He saw enough in my guilty expression, in the way Jason avoided his eyes. The look on Daniel's face that morning still haunts me. His fury wasn't just about betrayal, it was about where it happened. To him, the stables were sacred. Bella was sacred. In his eyes, I had desecrated something pure, turning the heart of our family ranch into the backdrop of my disloyalty. His anger wasn't loud. It was cold, quiet, and sharp. You chose here of all places? He asked me, his voice trembling. Our horse, Sarah. Our family horse was right there. Do you know what that means to me? I tried to explain, but how could I? There were no excuses that would make it right. Daniel told Jason to pack his things and leave immediately. As for me, the silence between Daniel and me stretched like a canyon.
For days, he wouldn't look at me.
Emily knew something was wrong, but she didn't understand the depth of it, and I prayed she wouldn't. The hardest part wasn't just the betrayal itself, but the fallout. Daniel couldn't look at Bella without thinking about what I had done. That horse, once his pride, became a reminder of pain. He considered selling her, something I never thought he'd do. I begged him not to, telling him Bella was innocent, that she didn't deserve to be punished for my mistakes. He finally agreed to keep her, but the bond between him and Bella was never the same. Rebuilding our marriage was a long and painful process. We went to counseling, something Daniel never thought he'd agree to, but he did because of Emily. He said he didn't want her to grow up in a broken home. I confessed everything to the therapist in front of him, every detail, every weakness that had led me astray. Some days, I thought he might forgive me. Other days, I saw the storm still raging behind his eyes. Even now, years later, the scars remain. Bella still grazes in our pasture, older now, slower, but still beautiful. Every time I see her, I'm reminded of what I did, not just to my husband, but to the sanctity of our family. I betrayed him in a place that meant everything to him, and that wound doesn't fully heal. But here's the truth I've come to accept. Infidelity isn't just about physical acts. It's about the breaking of trust, the choice to look outside your marriage for what you should fight to find within it. I broke that trust, and though Daniel and I are still together, we are not the same people we were before. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we had to break to rebuild. But I will carry the weight of what I did to our family horse and to my family for the rest of my life.